I'd like to call the September 26, 2022 meeting of the Ayer Board of Health to order. We have no need for executive session this evening, so we don't need to read that, correct?
Right.
So, okay.
Right.
So we're not going to do this, and we, of course, don't need to reconvene. We are in open session, so we will remain in open session. And the first thing on our agenda is public input.
Good evening.
And we have some public.
Ladies,
Come on
you
up
can
to the
join
table.
us at the
Yeah.
table.
All the way up, okay.
Yeah.
Right here?
Yep.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Big chair.
I understand that this is like exciting for you all.
It is.
I'm so pleased. I have served on small town boards myself, and when people would show up, you know, for library trustee, it was like all exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
My name is Jenna Brownson. My last name is spelled Brownson, and my husband and I own the property at 19 Grove Street. 19 Grove Street, we purchased from Ron and Ann Lawrence in 1999. We lived there from 99 until the spring of '05. It's a two-family house, and then my family moved to Littleton, to the house that I grew up in.
Okay.
We continue to own 19 Grove Street, and we have two sets of tenants. So there's what we call the house side and the apartment side.
Okay.
So when we lived there, we lived on the house side, and we had people rent from us, and we continue to have renters. My reason for being here is that there has been an ongoing concern about the trash being taken care of in an orderly and regular way. And
From the senior center, is that?
no. The
No?
trash on the property at 19 Grove Street. It's a blue house.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, so I'm
okay,
concerned
okay.
about the trash that's accumulating on the house side of the
Okay.
property, as
Got it.
are the folks who live on the apartment side. So it's one building, but you know, this one has more square footage and it feels more
Yeah.
housey, and this feels more apartment-y. So there's been quite a bit of concern about the tenants on the house side. They are, you want their names, I imagine, Brian Trail, spelled Traill, and Brian is spelled with a Y.
Oh, okay,
And his wife's name is Vanessa, and they're not married. His life partner's name is Vanessa, last name Hanscom, Hanscom.
okay.
We began renting to them in October of 2020, mid-pandemic. Yeah. And they have had trash issues regularly.
Yeah.
I have offered, how can I help, what can I do? But the neighbors are not happy.
Got it.
I feel like I have beaten the trash drum a bunch of times,
Yes.
and we are now in the process of asking Brian and Vanessa to leave. We actually let them know in mid-July that we were ending our tenancy month to month at the end of August, so they had these 6 weeks. They did not leave. I went to the Ayer District Court. I am, put into motion summary process, which I think is just a very euphemistic way of saying eviction.
Yeah.
We have never evicted anyone before, and they are non-responsive to me at this point, which I think they just don't want to talk to me, which I get. But the trash persists as an issue. The folks on the apartment side who would have liked to have been here tonight, but they just both got home from dinner.
It's a hard time.
It is a hard time. Everyone at my house is starving. That's the way it goes.
I know. Mine too.
Right? Breakfast cereal for dinner night.
Yeah.
Their names are Edward McVeigh, McVey, and his wife's name is Patricia Tremblay, Tremblay -McVeigh.
And did you say it was McVey?
Vey, MC, like
Yeah.
big M, little c, big V-E-Y.
EY.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
So they actually are the ones who sort of get the worst of it.
Yeah, I
And the folks at 21 Grove Street, there's a woman who lives there, has had conversations with Edward and Patricia and the folks across the street. Brian and Vanessa have not been a positive addition to the neighborhood, which is, people.
I gotcha.
I mean,
Yeah.
that little neighborhood back there,
Yeah.
it's just not a good fit.
So it's not as if there's a dumpster or
There's no dumpster.
There's no
Okay.
trash pickup. They're
Well,
responsible for going
They
to the
are.
dump.
They are. So if that were a three unit
Yeah.
building,
Then-
we would be responsible. But
Right.
because it's two,
Two.
they're each responsible,
Yeah.
and they both have contracts with Waste Not.
Oh.
And Waste Not apparently comes by on Fridays, but there have been times where the trash on the house side just is not brought out and
Right,
becomes.
right, yeah.
It boggles
Yeah,
the
you
mind.
do.
That's,
Right.
that
And-
it does boggle
Yeah.
the mind if it's there and it's, I mean, just get it out there so they can take it away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's one thing if you miss one.
That's interesting.
Yeah, totally. I think that reasonable people can be reasonable about all sorts of things,
sure.
and
Yeah.
my reasonableness has been tested with my relationship with them. But
Yeah.
COVID was hard.
So
Yeah,
are there trash
understood.
bags piling
Understood.
up out there basically right now?
I just went by now, and they are not piling up, but they have been piling up, and they appear to have no incentive to interact with me. They appear to
yeah.
have no incentive to continue to pay rent.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
they're doing by
So
way
it's
of.
kind of has to play out in the court. Is that where it is? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and I started on the 1st of September. That was the earliest
Yeah.
date I could do it. And on the very last day to respond,
Yeah.
Vanessa went to Ayer District Court and said, "We actually don't want it here. We want it in housing court." So it's been transferred to housing court,
Okay.
where when I called today, they still had not received what they need. So now it's what's today, the 26th?
Yeah.
And but they did mention that Brian and Vanessa back in 2019 had been in housing court.
Well, if there's a history there. But
Yeah.
I
So
know,
I'm sorry to interrupt. My concern at this point is that I think that they are proceeding with a general attitude of disregard
right.
for not only the property owners, but my concern is that it's just going to get worse in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm here. So I was reading something and I saw that the Board of Health
Yes,
takes an
yeah.
interest
Yes.
in things that can lead to vermin and
Yes.
Yes. They're. Yeah.
because we actually had 2 pet rats, and they are lovely little creatures, but they're not so lovely when they're murking around the
Yeah.
trash.
Yes, and
Yeah,
that's something
exactly.
that, and Bridget has written, they know, I'm not sure exactly how it goes, but they're cited, they only have so much time to clean up, is that right, Pam?
Yeah.
And then if they don't clean up, then it's a monetary thing, they start to get fined.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
As
Yeah.
So
far
it's
as,
like-
here's Bridget now.
Oh,
So
thank
you can
goodness.
answer
I don't
some-
have to struggle. I was going to try to explain. It's like the state sanitary code or something.
This is Jenna Brownson.
Hi.
Question is, we can fill you in on the whole history. Tenants, and they're not getting rid of their trash, and it's a history with these particular tenants. So what is,
And it's in housing court.
and it's in housing court now, but Jenna's concern is it's just gonna
Hi.
start to pile up and get worse. Now, do we, as a board, do you cite or?
So it depends on the situation. Is it a single-family house?
It's a 2-family.
It's a two-family?
Yeah.
Both
Sorry to
sides
hit you
rented.
right between the eyes. when
I
you-
know,
I
really.
have a copy of the house.
But you have a guest, and it's very exciting.
Yeah.
I honestly, I
It's a big
don't
moment.
have a copy of the housing code.
That's
but-
okay.
Yeah,
That's all right.
yeah.
But generally, what happens is the trash, single-family houses, the tenant is responsible for the trash. I do know that.
Yeah, I also know it's for 2 families. The tenants
Yeah.
are responsible. Yeah,
So-
it's
Yeah,
at
'cause you said
3 where the
3-family,
tipping
right?
point
Correct.
is
Yeah.
my responsibility.
So, I just have to look into that, as far as, where is the situation? Is it in the yard?
It had been, when it was at its worst, it was between so if you're looking at 19 Grove Street, it's a blue house, between 19 and 21. There's basically a place, there's a fence, and there's a place to park 1 car, and then that's all fenced in the back, and there's like this, I don't want to call it an alleyway, but it kind of looks like an alleyway that was just mountainous with trash.
Oh.
And
So-
it's not that way now though.
Yeah.
But my question for coming here is there something, am I here appropriately? Maybe that's the best question.
So essentially, and again, I don't have a copy of the code, but generally what we do is ultimately, if we see trash on the property, we cite the landlord, the owner of the property.
Why would that be?
That's what the code requires, that the owner is responsible to keep the property free and clear of.
Huh.
So that's essentially what we do, because when, again,
Oh, I know this house.
so yeah, if it's a single family house and we see trash, we don't know who the tenant is, but we can look up at the registry of deeds who the owner is, and then essentially the owner
yeah.
of the property and the tenant
Sure.
will find it out.
Yeah.
Sure, and that would be if, in fact, whatever, anyone was driving around and they're like, wow, that's a mountain of trash. We need to address that with the owner of the property.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you would get cited.
I would be cited.
Yes, because we can't prove if
That's
there's if it's a two family, we don't know who put the trash there. That's sort of.
Well, they have two separate trash
But the property
contracts.
is yours. So if there's trash on the property, it goes to the owner of the property because the owner has to keep the property basically free and clear
That's
of.
not what
Huh.
that's
Is
not
the
what I
property
wanted to hear.
split in any way? Is there like a fence, or is it a common yard, or? is
They
there
share a
fence to
common
it?
yard.
Okay.
Nope,
Nope,
it's
it says
light blue.
19 Grove.
Well, I think that's 21.
Okay.
Can you, is it like Google Maps
That's what I'm
or
looking for,
something?
too.
Because you
Yeah.
could slide down.
So they're not on the pond side, because I live kind of in that neighborhood too.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah.
on the pond side, they're on the East Main Street side of Grove Street.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you
Got it.
turn into the neighborhood and Fernie Park's right in front of you, and the courthouse is
Mhm.
here,
Yeah.
and you go down, you take
A
a
right.
right to get onto Grove Street,
Yeah.
and it goes sort of up a little ridge.
Yeah,
It intersects
yeah.
with Elm.
Yep.
And there's that house that you just showed, and then I think it's the one next to it. I think the Grove is right next to
Yeah.
19 Grove.
Gotcha.
So they've got the wrong address on here for
Yeah, so
19.
ultimately
So-
it goes to the property owner, the landlord,
And where is that?
in the housing code.
In the
state-
housing
The state
code.
housing code.
Okay, and do you happen to know off the top of your head what that number is? Okay.
It's under the.
If you want to,
'Cause when I
just take a look at email, you don't have to do it this second.
Yeah,
but
because
you
when
can
I-
email it to me and
Yeah.
make sure I've got your
Yeah,
email
contact, yeah, yeah.
address, and I'll
Because
stay in touch.
when I noticed that there was that the Board of Health deals with these sorts of sanitary issues,
Yeah.
I did also go look at the building code, and it's clear that if you're a landlord and you have 3 or more, you're responsible for the trash removal.
Yeah.
But if it's 2 or 1, it's the people who are
Their
renting.
responsibility. You know what's really strange, Bridget, is that tenants on both sides have a trash service.
Yeah.
So
again,
they're just
it's
not
like-
bringing their stuff out.
Right, and ultimately
weird.
it goes back to the, and that's why even though it's a two-family, you're the owner of the property, it's impossible for us to know whether it's tenant A or tenant B. Even if it's clear, it's still your property, so it's, you have to keep the property, maintained free and clear.
Yeah, I'm not
Ah.
not convinced that I mean, single family makes sense, but a 2-family where the tenants, I mean, the code says they are responsible for trash removal, not
Right,
the landlord.
But you're responsible to maintain the property itself.
So if the tenants have mounds and mounds of trash right outside their side door, and they're refusing to put it in the bins and take the bins to the curb, I'm responsible.
We would send you an order.
This is a nightmare on top of a nightmare.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
All right then.
Okay, don't despair.
No.
Don't despair.
Because, no, this is just,
Bridget, we were having a good time till you showed up.
I mean, I can
Come on.
double check, but it's like, at the end of the day, there's this, and I can't remember, usually I carry my housing code with me, I just had it in my hand, but it was, it's falls under.
So that's the state sanitary code,
Mhm.
right? Isn't there also an bylaw.
And under that, you'd be cited as
Under
well.
the nuisance bylaw, so that goes also to the
So the nuisance
landlord
bylaw
owners?
and the,
Housing code,
Code
or
kind of-
like kind of mirrored?
sometimes if Charlie doesn't have time to do something,
Yeah.
for the bylaw, I'll do it
okay.
under the housing code.
But I can see where that language, where you said the tenants are responsible.
Yeah.
What it says in that contract.
Right.
That goes against, it doesn't,
I-
yeah, it's two different.
You're probably not like trying to spend and throw good money after bad, basically, but are you working with an attorney at all on the?
I happen to be an attorney,
Oh.
so
Oh.
I'm familiar with some of these things. So.
And you would, I can tell.
You know,
Well,
I have
I did
my
wear a jacket,
suspicions.
so.
Yeah,
But
I know.
it gets, so, if we're inside the unit, we can cite the tenant, but when it's outside and it's the property, ultimately, I think it's under I wanna say under 500, but I just, darn it, I would have.
What I was thinking when I asked you about if you were working with an attorney was that it could still work to your benefit. If
Okay,
if
tell
you
me
are
how.
cited,
Yeah,
you now have damages above and beyond
Wow.
them just,
sure.
So
yeah,
it's seems to me, I don't know if you're doing this yourself or if there's I'm really not well versed in like a landlord-tenant law, but it would seem to me that it's something that it's just an added something in your column.
Well, I suppose so. I mean, what it boils down to is we had a contract, which was month to month to
Yeah.
month, and we gave them we give them 47 days notice or something.
Yeah.
Which is lots of notice because we
Yes.
sort
I
of
think that is.
and we
yes.
bake that into our agreements because we want to give everyone enough time to find something new.
Mhm.
And we've had tenants let us know 45 days in advance we're leaving. Terrific.
Yeah.
That gives us plenty of time to plan it all out.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Yeah.
But this is the first time we've actually ever asked anyone to leave. And
Yeah.
Do you have,
heels are dug in.
as a landlord, do you have access to the property?
Yes.
Can you, and Bridget might be able to, if the landlord was to go in and see that it was, not sanitary inside of the apartment and got the Board of Health involved in
We
that
can't go
part,
in.
because it's separate to the outside?
Mm.
We have no authority to go in.
You
even if
don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we don't. So she
Yeah.
could, the only way that we could get involved is if the tenant called us.
Mm.
So we can't.
Not the landlord?
No. We don't have the right of entry with the landlord. We don't even have the right of entry with the police department.
Yeah.
Or the fire department. So if we go to a house and there's a major issue,
I know that's come up before. I know that you,
I was thinking,
yeah, you can
go in.
we have that question come up all the time,
Oh.
but I can't.
I'm really surprised.
I know, it's like it just seems fundamentally messed up. That, I get it. I totally get this. I also did become for a few years a reluctant landlord, so I
Yeah.
particularly,
Right.
kind of feel for your thing. This
Yeah,
is
it's
something
tricky.
you do for
It's
a living.
tricky. But
and-
so Rob and I have had the house since '99.
Yep.
We left in '05, right? That's 17 years we've not been there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of figure once in 17 years to have
It's not so bad.
it's not so bad.
Yeah.
But it's not so great either. I wouldn't wish this on anyone because it's just
No.
it's sad. It's sad to have to. I mean, I feel for this family, I do, but
Yeah.
I also have ended our contract with them, and they
Yeah, I
refuse to
know.
leave. So it's hard for my feelings to continue to be generous
I
toward
know.
them.
Right.
So, and I was
totally
just
understand.
curious
Yeah.
if you all took an interest in the trash, because the guys, Eddie and Patricia are
Mhm.
alerting me to it being a problem.
And I feel bad for those people that
Oh
live
my
right next
gosh.
door that have to
So,
put up with
yeah,
that.
like,
Yeah,
does
it's
that-
not just that, it's also very loud stuff from next door and a
God,
dog
I've
that
had neighbors
they crate and howls when they're not there, and it's
Oh, that's
It's
Yeah.
not a great fit. It's not a
Really
great fit.
not,
But
yeah.
ultimately, we ended our contract with them, and they have said,
Yeah,
nope.
you'll get through.
I mean, it would be
this.
the equivalent if they wanted to end it with us, and we said, no, you have to live here forever.
Right.
You
Yeah,
can't leave.
I know.
You're hostage.
I know.
So, under the housing
Exactly.
code,
Yeah.
there's a section 601 with trash and rubbish.
Yep.
But section 602 goes, and this is the one that we
Sure.
cite the owner of the property. So if someone were to complain and we drove by,
Yeah.
we would look up the owner of the property
course.
at the registry of deeds, and
Right.
then it says, the owner or any parcel of land, vacant or otherwise, shall be responsible for maintaining such parcel of land in a clean and sanitary condition,
Yeah.
free from garbage or rubbish. So
Okay.
basically, I think that's in there, if a tenant refuses to do it, ultimately to protect the property and
Sure.
the neighbors or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
it falls to you.
Right,
Okay.
right, I understand.
So that's 602.
Okay.
And if you want, you can send me an email and I can, that's my contact if you have any
Yeah.
other questions after
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but.
But that's actually even better if the
Yeah,
two of
that's
you
sort of-
are, dealing directly with it, so it's
What's an
not going.
RS?
Registered sanitarian.
Got
Yeah.
it.
People think I'm like,
You're something.
I'm not,
We
I'm
know
really
you're
not.
something.
It would be, I would feel like if that was, and I'm not saying this is, part of the whole legal system, I would feel like if I, as a property owner, had to spend money to clean up someone's mess, even though it's my property, I would hope in housing court there would be a way to
Yeah.
get,
Yep.
Monetary-
Document.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like,
I
I
know.
spent all this
Yeah.
money to have a service come clean up your crap.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well,
you
and
owe me X amount of
correct. And
dollars.
when people have left in the past, someone left mid-COVID, and it seemed to us that they sort of just fled.
Yeah.
And when we went in there,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
hadn't taken all their stuff out, and
Oh,
they had a couple of big dogs, because we rent to people who have dogs, and I think they kept them in the back bedroom, so there was this on the
Yeah.
door. We did our best to
Yeah.
fix it, but we didn't return all of their security deposit because
Right.
there were these things that
Yeah,
cost money to
issues.
fix.
Yeah.
And I would imagine the same argument could be made that if all of a sudden they just stop doing the trash and we have
Yeah.
to start doing it for them, that could be sort of
That's
credited against a security
Yeah, the
deposit.
security, I would think
Right.
so.
So,
Yeah,
I think so.
absolutely.
but whatever the case may be. It's-
How long do you anticipate this taking?
Well,
to
winter's coming,
I know.
and they have children.
That's fine.
So my suspicion is they'll probably be there until spring. But we'll see.
Boy, is that
I
good
feel
thought.
badly. I wish we had some kind of a cut and dry, like,
I
yes,
know.
we're on it, we're gonna get right over there and help.
I do.
Because I totally
Yeah.
feel,
Yeah.
I understand,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm very impressed that you're
So,
this, yeah.
you know what?
Like,
I've gotten to a
are you
point in my
past the blind
life
range?
where
Or-
it's not
I think
even
that's where
that.
I would be.
It's not in my control, right?
Yes.
It's like in between
That
the
is
Ayer
true.
District Court and Housing Court, and there's
And
going to
that
be
is-
delays,
yeah.
and then and I think Housing Court should be compassionate and not
Yeah.
evict people into
Yes.
the snow.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hello,
know.
But they
I know.
also have a
You know.
history, you said, this is the
they've,
second time
they've been to Housing Court
Whoa,
before.
boy.
Yeah,
come on.
yeah.
Oh,
Right. So I like to think the best of people, and when things
Yeah.
are out of my control, what else can you do?
Ugh,
Right? Getting upset
please.
about it's not going to change the fact that
No.
they'll be around for a while.
I just hope you have some kind
Yeah.
of recourse, whether it's
Yeah.
monetary or
Yeah.
something.
Yep.
Um,
All right.
Yeah, that's.
I'm so sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Yeah,
Don't be
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry.
Yeah.
Don't
No,
be
but
sorry.
It's just an
It's just
unfortunate. all
it's
around.
hard to bump
Yeah.
into people who don't stick to the rules. I
Yeah.
think that's really what
Yeah.
it boils down to
Yeah,
is,
it's
you know,
true.
I'm a lawyer, we have laws.
Yeah.
It basically
Yeah.
is the agreement. We're all gonna live in this way until we start changing them. And if we change them, then we're gonna live in that new way.
Exactly.
But when you have an
Yeah.
agreement and someone doesn't stick to the rules, it's a drag.
I know.
Right?
I know. And you
It
go out
does.
of
We
your
put
way
things
to
in
do
writing
it
for a
right.
reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And it just,
It's-
it's so
it's tough.
unfortunate because what happens too is if a tenant, is going into housing court, what they generally will do sometimes is before they go, they'll call us in to do an inspection.
Right, okay.
And
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
sometimes
So you might be
buys time.
hearing from Brian and Vanessa.
Yeah.
FYI.
Who
Well, I don't know.
knows?
I don't know how sort of savvy they are about.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
seems to me if you go into court the very last day to file your answer, and your answer is, I don't want it in this court, I want it in this other court, that perhaps you do have a level of skill when it comes to
Yeah.
moving through the slow wheels of justice.
Yeah, no,
That would be my
I
suspicion.
unfortunately had a landlord give the tenant the house once.
Okay.
Just said here?
Yep.
What do you mean? Because it was so.
It was
Couldn't
so
deal with
bad.
court anymore.
Oh my
Yep.
God.
It gets bad. I mean, it gets
Yeah,
really
I
bad,
can
and
just imagine.
it's sometimes, yeah. They ended up signing the house over to them.
We're not doing that.
No, I know. But I'm just,
No.
now I'm venting because
Yes.
it's like we see, but at the end of the day, I think it's we always tell landlords document everything.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
before you rent an
Yeah.
apartment, document, do credit checks, do financial checks,
Call
everything.
housing court and
Everything,
everything.
Yeah.
do everything that you
Yeah.
can and document the apartment before they move in.
Right, we did. Yeah.
So if
Yeah,
they
yeah.
do
all
call
sorts of
us,
photos and stuff. Yeah.
then it's documented that
Right.
it was in such a way, and that usually helps in court. And sometimes
Yeah,
when the
sure.
tenant calls us,
Yeah.
it's actually considered retaliatory against the landlord.
Yeah. Well,
So the judge, sometimes they'll get it, it's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
it's a matter of, but the games that play, and that's why it's like, and sometimes there's always this option too, when the apartment's empty, we charge a $50 fee to do inspections. So it's also documented on our level that the apartment on such and such a day was cleared and everything was checked. Again, it doesn't
Oh.
really mean anything, it's just, it's
it
documentation.
establishes the baseline.
So we do them for Section 8
yeah.
a lot, or somebody that has some other housing voucher.
Sure.
So
yeah.
the state, before they give them that money, they want us to do the inspection.
Of course.
But other landlords
Right.
have done it too, just as an extra level of protection.
Interesting. Okay, well, I'll mention that
So
tomorrow.
that's a service that's available. But
Yeah.
It stinks.
It does stink.
It stinks.
It
and-
stinks. But you know what? Things in other places on the globe stink more.
Yes.
This
So
is true.
this is
Perspective.
Yeah.
it's
Exactly.
this is
Yeah.
a problem that I have at this point, and it'll someday not be a problem anymore.
Well, if you have a card and you would like to leave it with us.
Yeah, sure,
I-
sure.
If Bridget has a brainstorm in the middle of the night,
Bridget has
or
a
a dream, certainly.
So I've got all sorts of different
Contact you.
cards.
Oh, wow.
I can give you my I write books card. I can give you
Oh,
I help
good.
people die card. And I can give you my regular business card.
What?
No, I know, right?
You're
What?
a lawyer who helps people die.
Yep.
This is getting really interesting. I think
Hey,
I
I'm
want to
so
know more
glad you
about
find
you.
it interesting.
Thank you so.
It's an assortment of
If this
things.
job continues to be as difficult as it is, I might need you to put me under.
Yeah, well, no, it's
I'm
not
just kidding.
assisted suicide.
I'm just
Okay, okay.
No, mm-mm. No, but people
Oh my
people
God.
get to the end of their lives and they have usually some regrets, some unsaid words, some guilt, and some shame. And sometimes they don't want to offload that on their family.
Yeah.
So I'm the recipient
It's
of the
fascinating.
unburdening of those sorts of things. And then some people like to do like projects where they take maybe, I don't know, pictures, and they want to decoupage
Yeah,
or whatever, or make
yeah,
a book, or
yeah.
they want to narrate stories and have them put into book form. Like people want legacy
That is
projects.
so interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I do.
yeah. But hey, you can start today. Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah,
I
thank
appreciate it.
you
It was
for
lovely
coming
to
to see
spend
us.
time in Ayer Town Hall with hardworking women who are getting it done.
If any other options surface,
Yeah.
well, somebody will get in touch with you.
Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry.
I wish it was
don't
more,
be sad.
I just wish it was more cut and dry, but,
Yeah.
I
Well,
know it.
mitigating circumstances present all the time.
that's the
so.
word.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, it's just like there's a certain number of things in life
Yeah.
that are just not fair.
And I'm so sorry we hit
that's the
you
way
as
it
soon
goes.
as you were coming in, but as,
No, no, no,
as
no,
you
I
watched
like
it, I didn't want to waste a lot of your time catching you up to speed with the history. I just wanted to,
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
like,
Yeah.
my brain
sorry.
still works.
It's-
That was a test,
Yeah.
On your feet.
and I am still functioning.
You got it, you got it. All right.
You're doing good.
So, I just have a couple of, is it my turn?
Yeah, it is.
Yes, yes.
So it's COVID.
COVID
it's
update,
the
Sandy Pond.
Sandy Pond
Alright.
bloom.
Fresh Air Nutrition and the cottage. The Fresh Air Nutrition was done a while ago. I think I just forgot to put it in the file to
Oh,
be
okay.
filed.
Okay.
It might have been done during a Zoom meeting. I might have brought it up.
Okay, yeah.
Because this looks
yeah.
like, 9/21/2002.
Oh, was it that long ago?
2002?
2022.
Oh, oh, jeez. And here I am rolling right along with
No,
it. Yeah,
it's
2002.
So it, sure it wasn't 21?
No,
Is
this
it a
must
year
be,
old?
I might have,
It's a year old. It's not,
it was like,
Or it's 20 years old.
this I think is a mistake. I have to go back and look at this.
They're
I might have
brand new.
entered something in.
I know.
We're doing these on the computer now, and I'm gonna take this back.
It was okay though. The
When I did the
Inspection
inspection, it
was
was
fine,
done, yeah, it was,
everything was
but it was a
fine,
while ago. This is the cottage, which is fine.
okay.
That's,
that sounds good.
I did a housing, 24 Hatch Street.
Okay.
It's a Brady Sullivan property. All of the violations that were found, nothing major. They were sent in order to correct, and they have 30 days to fix. So that's just sort of in. COVID's COVID. We still are giving out test kits. I think cases kind of fluctuating.
I haven't had anyone come in like 2 weeks for any. so-
Okay, I put some outside in the hallway on the round
Yeah.
table just for, because we're trying to give them out before the expiration dates.
Yeah.
So they're
Just
out
tan
there,
at this
yeah.
point.
And the numbers are,
I mean, we're seeing it, I think there's cases in the schools and some of the assisted living facilities, but, again, it's something that
Yeah.
we've been dealing with, and same thing, people just use caution.
Yeah.
If you don't feel well, test, as we all know, there's
Mhm.
test kits everywhere right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
true.
I tell people, come in and get them. We leave them in our office too. So people can come in, wear a mask, and grab them. They're right on our desk when you walk in. So just before you go out, test.
That's in your little like ante room there out front, right? So
Right
you
when
don't
you
even
walk
have
in.
to go into the office.
Yep, you can walk
Yeah.
in, take them right off the counter and leave.
That's great.
So, as far as the pond,
Yeah.
I had a long conversation with Steve about this last week.
Yep.
It is still, the bloom is still in place. I took pictures last week,
Okay.
sent them to the state. They
Yeah.
confirmed again visually that
Okay.
I was out there this morning. We have a fluorometer. I think that's the technical name of it, fluorometer.
Okay.
And Ira in my office is the one that is the expert sort of on it, so
Yeah.
he'll take it, run it through, and check the numbers. And as of this morning, the water still is like well over the limit. So even with all that rain, we've had some sporadic phone calls from people. I had one today, a gentleman that swims in the pond, and it can go right through the winter.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, until the first freeze, and then what happens is the state determines whether or not, they do the testing. So
Yeah.
they determine whether or not they're going to do the testing
Okay.
and when it will be done. So you kind of, before they do the testing,
Okay.
you want to visually see that, okay, the pond is clear. Then we'll use our fluorometer, kind of get
Yeah,
a
makes
baseline,
sense.
say, okay, the numbers are really low,
Yeah.
and then request that the state come out.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
that makes
I
sense.
don't see any need to do any additional testing. It's $300+ per test.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Connecticut, I think, is the closest one that does this.
and I can see where that would be, if it was, like I was saying earlier, if it was July or August, and we were
Right.
getting a lot of
Yeah.
phone calls and people saying, come on, why can't we, but it's
Yeah,
the time of
yeah.
year that it's.
Right.
And I have a question though, when the big board that says no recreation, no pets, what about we have, I don't know how many sets of swans down there. So wild animals, none of that, it's only like if a dog, like Steve had said something about some dogs that died.
Animals.
and they-
Yeah.
Yeah, pets, if they are in there, it's a different
Yeah.
story.
But water birds are okay?
Yeah, they must be,
probably?
You know,
Resistant in
that's,
some way.
Yeah, I bet they are.
Natural defenses.
they're immune to it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Huh.
I just,
Season out there.
like I said, even if it was the middle of the summer,
Yeah.
we have enough evidence not even to
Yeah,
test
well, if
it.
it's that clear visually.
That's,
Yeah.
I mean, it was like
Yeah.
last week, and I'm just,
It was bright, it was a bright green.
and if you
Yeah.
go and
Yeah.
and if you go and look at the pond, you'll see this stuff, it's weird.
If it's
I
like the
gotta go
one that
look
I
at
saw
this.
down at the pond in the Cape, that I described them as gelatinous little bright green pearls. They were just floating, and if you moved the water, they just kinda like bobbled
Oh,
along with it.
God, that's
But
disgusting.
they were bright green.
Yeah, I mean,
It's the same thing.
It's very weird because it's not, there's some of those that aren't the,
The round,
that
The
aren't the,
stringy?
yeah.
yeah.
They're not the, I can't say
The
it, cyanobacteria.
That's a
Yeah.
big word.
It is, it's a big word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just when I first looked at it, I was kind of like, I don't know, something doesn't look right. But again, I had never visually seen it, so I brought someone from my office.
Yeah.
And just for fun, I took some samples and put them in containers just to see if I could
Yeah.
see it in the container.
Yeah.
And it was crystal clear. I mean, it was crystal
Really?
clear. It looked like a water test from a well that I take when you do well samples. So, like, this is, and then when I brought it back,
That's
they're like,
so
this is
strange.
oddly clear. For looking so green, it was bizarre.
Is it like in a certain layer that you have to get
So-
down to or something?
No, and so
Weird.
I've been testing it at the same spot.
Yeah.
So now it's funny because it's like it's just got a funny color. It's like a little murky. Doesn't
Ugh.
look as clear at all.
It's probably going through some
It-
god awful
yeah, it's like a-
dying.
I mean, it
and,
probably is in
you
that
know, cycle.
It sounds like it's mutating, like the getting ready to get back to normal or whatever.
or
Maybe
as it's
all
getting
starting to come to the
colder,
top.
it's,
Yeah.
some of it's just giving up
It's
the ghost
behaving
or something.
differently. I'm
That's
sure
weird.
a biologist could tell us.
I mean,
Why?
Yeah.
I'm fascinated. I spend way too much
I think
time
it's
down
kinda
there.
cool, too.
So but you see different changes too. I mean, there was a point where, and you can even see it in the pictures, that I look like my shadows on the lake, Sandy Pond, right? So it's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
time of day.
Yeah.
So when I took the picture, my shadows in the picture, and I look like the Incredible Hulk. It was just because it was.
It's so.
It's that
flaky
green.
looking.
Is that, yeah, you can't tell. Oh, you've got the
This is
color.
one of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it was like.
God.
It's just, it looks like a weird
Is that
oil
the color
slick
version?
almost.
Ooh, that is
Yeah.
gross.
So,
That is so gross.
but yeah, no. So I'm.
You keep doing it.
Wow. But the deal from the state or their take on this is still that, right, it just dies and it
It
does
has to run its
whatever.
course.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
a link on mass.gov. I'm going to try to remember to send it out. But there's a link on mass.gov that you can see the other water areas that have the cyanobacteria.
Yeah,
Sign
that
up.
stuff.
Oh,
That
it
stuff.
shows-
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can see all the ones in Massachusetts right now.
Oh.
So so who is it? This is what Steve was asking me this week and I didn't know. Like, I'm pretty sure you would. Who at the state does this? It's Department of Public
Public Health.
Health. Okay, it's not DEP.
No.
It's Public Health. Okay, got it.
So DEP has links for the cyanobacteria where you can go and look at it.
Yeah.
And learn about it, and I mean it is, like I said, oddly fascinating.
Yeah.
But
That's kind of what I was looking for, is just some place to find out more about what
Yeah.
this is, some reliable source. So I'm just gonna check theirs. And Flanagan's is,
That's what the question was, where it drains
Yeah.
off into Flanagan's.
so far it's visually okay. So like I said, yeah.
okay.
That's where the swans have been hanging out over, mostly on Flanagan's
Oh.
or Fletcher's. There's always this
I
big debate.
know.
We're going back and forth.
Yeah, which is it? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe that's why they're there. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not hanging out in this
Yeah,
disgusting.
I wonder, although they've been, and sometimes they go over to there's another one, Bridget, on Barnum, that's connected, aren't all of those connected?
Oh, if on Bottom Road, that's Grove.
Okay, the one
Yeah.
that's behind Wendy's, that's part of Grove? Cause that
That's
goes under
kind of
that
like
little
the-
bridge that goes, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's sort of like where Grove kind of turns
Yeah,
into those
okay.
wetlands
Yeah,
there in
yeah.
Harvard.
That would make sense.
Like down
So
in
they're-
back of the cemetery
Yeah.
and everything, back of Wendy's.
So they wouldn't be,
Yeah,
no, that's too far off.
no, that's like the tail end of.
But isn't it strange that Grove
Grove.
wasn't
Okay.
affected?
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
It's my neighborhood, I didn't see anything.
So this should be all town nutrition. I have to change it in the computer. I'm sitting here going, what? So with the new database
Yeah,
that's electronic, sometimes when I'm getting into the system, I can start entering into the wrong establishment with the fee.
oh, I got
So
you, yeah.
instead of,
So it
yeah.
wasn't, it's not fresh air.
it's all town, so I
It's
just
all
have to
town,
change
okay.
okay, gotcha. All right, now we're all on the same page, I think.
it. That was bothering me.
Do you have anything else, or just to go a little bit out of order? It's the new business now is 83 Pleasant Street rodents, but then you're up again for Neshoba update. So if you have anything else to say as Neshoba,
Yeah.
blurt it out now.
So do you want to talk about the rats?
Yep, if that's the only thing you have left to talk about, that's the next thing on the
Well,
agenda.
I thought there was another. Yeah, go ahead. That's
Is there
separate.
something?
What, I don't.
I
think
thought there was an email that's
Well, there.
talked about Grove Street. Or was it down?
Yes,
Pond-
that's why
Pond
I
Street,
asked her
If it was
it
related.
was the elderly,
Yeah.
because there was something on the call log.
Right.
So who was calling
So it's the.
whom?
the
Who was reporting whom, I
So,
guess?
yeah, do you want me to?
Yeah, I have it. I'm
Yeah,
trying
Air
to keep-
Housing Authority.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
air housing.
So there's an issue with the dumpsters.
The housing authority's dumpsters?
All right,
So
yes.
Go
I
first.
I talked to Charlie about this. a little
Okay.
bit.
Oh,
So
good.
the Air Housing Authority called with a complaint. They have 2 dumpsters.
Yep.
One from an old contractor, one from the new contractor. The old contractor has not removed the dumpster because there was a weird something went on over there.
So
And there was a bit of fighting about contractors and something fell apart and fell through, and then someone who was over there said there are rats in these dumpsters.
So, I have received a couple of phone calls from residents regarding this property as well. Or people over in the Pond Street area. Both
Yeah.
of the dumpsters, there are 2 dumpsters there. Both of them are covered, both of them are empty. I did not see any rats. I don't wanna say empty. Both of them are covered.
I know they're both
They're
covered,
both covered.
Yeah.
because
So-
those are like right out my back door.
Yeah.
Almost.
So those are covered. What happened is the old company wasn't picking up the dumpster because they were still considered as active at the housing authority. So the housing authority was supposed to, I call the dumpster company to try to resolve some
Yeah.
of this.
Okay.
And the dumpster company still had the Air Housing Authority as active, so if they were active, they couldn't pull out the dumpster.
Okay.
So I can follow up and see if it has been, if there's any
Okay.
resolution to that and it's been removed.
Okay, got it. Is it an issue though, because it's open? Can they lock it so
I
that
think they're
people
locked.
can't keep throwing?
I think they're locked.
Okay, good.
I think that's what Ken Martin had said, that they're,
Yeah, if the
they're
old one
locked.
is locked, that would be my biggest
Yeah.
concern, is that you get stuff in there and then it never gets picked up.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
No,
And-
don't be
And then
sorry.
the other one was was the
So I did, are you talking about
83.
Pleasant Street?
Yeah.
So there's clearly issues with rats at different times of the year. I did receive a call from Julie in another area of town. There's some chickens and issues with rats as well. And
Okay.
so we are monitoring the area. We visually haven't seen anything.
Okay.
And I think she's going to be following up with some people with regards to chicken permits and inspections that might be needed, and
All right.
we'll kind of circle back around, but we continue to monitor. We haven't had any other calls or complaints. So at this point, we're just sort of
Yeah.
trying to find a source.
Yeah, and if she still has like bad inspections to do, that
She still has
this
that
is
to
really
do.
good timing, I guess. For
Yes,
that.
to kind of look and evaluate, but
Yeah.
like I said, anytime, the biggest link with rats is obviously animals, especially chickens. Feeding
Yeah.
the birds is another one. Those tend to, but chickens in particular.
Yeah,
are the-
I would imagine the feed and the you
Yeah.
know,
The
and
turnips.
other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, I mean, the other concern too is if there are rats, are people, what are they doing? Are they baiting, poisoning, using poison, and are the rats being picked up deceased?
Yeah.
Which, that's not good.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the baiting thing, I can't say often enough, you've got to be really careful because pets get into that stuff.
Right.
Not only wild animals, but
Yeah.
pets. And we were assured, we had a problem with, well, we always do because it's an old house with a fieldstone foundation, but yeah, mice. in the-
Yeah.
And we had an exterminator try like anything to convince me that even if my dogs ate one or two, maybe even 3 or 4 mice that had been killed by the mice bait, it wouldn't hurt the dogs.
Oh, I don't
And I
believe
just
that.
didn't believe him. I was just
I
like,
feel the same
Yeah,
way.
I've
That
had a
doesn't
problem
make
too.
sense.
My cat caught 5 in the last 2 weeks.
oh my
It's a
God.
vicious monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the time.
He's
I have
efficient.
They're
a
coming
fieldstone
in.
basement too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've just gotta be,
Yeah, and you
just
don't.
be mindful of both wild animals and
Yeah.
that we
any
don't
of
wanna
that
kill
stuff.
off and pets if you do that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so that's on sort of active monitoring status.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll give you one last chance, Bridget. Anything else for Nishoba update? No? Call log? That
That's
really was the
enough.
thing I
Yeah.
wanted to know about was what the housing
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
thing was. So that
That
makes
made me nervous when I
perfect
saw
sense
that.
to me. Yeah.
Yep.
And what is the, actually, yeah, there was another one. What is a trash train? Complaint about trash trains?
So a trash
that
train
actually
is one
about
of the trains, like, I don't know what company it is, but yes, it's a train that carries trash and it comes through town.
Really?
And so generally with
I've never
those,
seen it.
I haven't been able to see it either. I've gone once we.
Are they
we get-
open, like
I-
those open cars where the top is open?
I don't, I would think they're covered.
They are covered.
They are
I see
covered.
them. I
Oh.
can see them from my house.
Okay.
Can you smell them?
They're not parked, so they're not there long enough for me
Okay.
to be
Okay.
able to tell. But I definitely can see
Are they
them.
marked so that you know you can differentiate between what's being carried? and what's-
Yeah, you can tell.
Okay.
You can tell that they kind of look like dumpsters on wheels.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah,
Sort
they
of
look
makes
like
sense.
dumpsters
Yeah,
on
okay.
wheels. But they are covered. But I would imagine they would, if they're lingering. Like obviously the train's just moving,
Yeah.
so I can't.
Yeah, exactly.
I can just smell the train, but
Yeah. Yeah, that's a whole
different-
other thing.
but I would imagine if they're parked, they can get pretty rank.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if those come in, we generally give those to Carly, and she has a contact, and she'll reach out to them
Oh, to
Okay.
the railroad.
because we have no jurisdiction over that, even if
Right.
it's a trash train. So
Okay. So we're on top of the trash train.
we are.
Okay, awesome. And the rest of it didn't look. Nothing I needed to follow up on. Got any questions? Trish, on any of the other call stuff?
Well, that was back on the 7th, and that was taken care of with Bacon Joy. They had talked.
Oh,
And that's in the
yeah.
minutes.
Nothing new with that
No,
either, right?
no.
Anything above those dark lines
Yeah.
from previous meetings, I just keep
Yeah,
using.
no.
I kind
That's
of like
great.
that.
That's a good
that
idea.
it carries them forward.
Yeah.
That's a
I
good
was
way
gonna
to
do
do
it in
it.
3-month chunks, that way I didn't
Yeah.
get too long.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, no, it is pretty good because then you're not just losing it every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of history.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know you're on a time.
Yeah, I just
Time
have a
frame.
meeting to go to, so
Okay.
are you good with me?
We're good.
Yeah, I think we're good with
Thank
you.
you.
You good?
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Do you print it out?
I checked that today when I came in.
It's okay. It was so big, I had it on my desk, and we were busy. If you want to just take it out of your bag, that's fine.
That's so funny. I put that property in on Zillow and Google, and I showed it to her, and she said, "No, it's the next house down." And I'm like, "Why is it coming up this?"
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
I walk my dogs on
Down there.
on Grove Street. Yeah. So I'm gonna check that out
Yeah.
because my street, if Grove Street went straight through at the end near the public housing,
Yep.
it would actually intersect my yard. So I'm right.
Yep.
So I'm gonna check it out.
Me too.
Really? What street are you on?
On church.
Oh, yeah, we probably walk by your house all the time. Give us a wave if you see us.
Like the one covered in soccer nets.
Oh, jeez. All right. So I think that's, yeah, Bridget, that's all we need you for. You don't have to go, but you can. Is there anything in the mail that needs Bridget's attention?
I'm gonna bring this with me and then I'll.
Yeah, that's I just got some random mail this past week.
Yeah,
This was something else.
What is anything?
I just got some random mail, but if you want to, if you
will
want to check her next time, that's fine.
You guys are friendly and nice.
Huh?
You're friendly and nice, so I don't mind your calls.
Yeah, it's the people that scream at you.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for nothing.
We try.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you
See ya.
again. Sorry about the blindsiding, but
I'm glad I still have it with me.
yeah.
The minutes, do you want to vote on and I can sign for Steve, or do you want to
I
wait?
think we can. I don't see why. I hate to remember for the longest time we would be
We were-
signing and we were
Yeah,
behind. I hate.
we were
I
way behind.
don't want to see that happen again.
Yeah, I'd just as soon stay.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Okay, so then the minutes of our September 12th meeting we have are there any changes, corrections? Yeah, that's what I'm digging for. Yeah, thank you.
You have a pen? Yeah.
Uh,
I was looking through these earlier and I didn't really see much.
Yeah, I didn't, I
Um,
thought it looked,
I thought it looked okay. You never know.
okay.
Somebody might read it and we'll get a complaint.
Somewhere
That there's
in the
an S
world,
missing.
somebody may, yes, somebody may read
Yeah.
it.
Really?
Oh
I've
my
had that.
God.
Oh, please. But, so I make a motion to accept the minutes
Yes.
from September
September
12th.
All in favor? Oh, I have to second. I second that.
Yes?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There you go.
There you go.
God. Oh, God.
Okay.
Okay, so there you go. There's that. There's that. And,
I'll take care of those later.
all right.
Right,
Then bills and mail. Do we have any bills?
I don't have any bills.
Okay.
I did pay a bill last week for you guys. It was the Neshoba nursing.
Oh,
support
yeah,
our
yeah,
bill.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
paid those with the
Okay.
payables. It was just over $6,000.
Yeah,
I have the exact amount upstairs, but
yeah.
I looked and I went, okay, this seems to be normal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is,
normal
yeah,
process,
it is, it
yeah.
is. Do you need either or any of us to sign on anything? Okay,
I
perfect.
just,
Yeah.
I asked, they said just submit them, we're all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing I have is this piece of mail. This was a chicken permit that was signed last time.
Okay.
The owner, permit holder, whatever, contacted us. She has a permit for 5 chickens. Tractor Supply requires you purchase 6, so she changed it to 6 and kindly informed us.
Isn't that funny?
Tractor Supply makes you feel sexy.
It's a six-pack.
It
comes in
So I don't know what you guys really want to do with this, other than I can just attach it to her existing permit and sort of go with, yep,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yep, exactly. Did she give you her email address? Or
Yeah, I
anything?
know.
Just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
confirm
I
back with her that it's okay.
fine.
It's okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, I would just attach it, make a note, and then
Yeah.
next year it'll be for 6.
It's so funny.
God, that
She's
is.
very nice and let us know.
I know,
Okay.
really? That's someone that does things by the rules, right?
Exactly.
And then the other thing
talking about earlier. there's
Only
more
we could
people.
have, such compliance.
Order.
The other thing I do have is I do have one new chicken permit.
Okay.
Do you want to say it?
Yeah, I think
What's
I can
the
send that.
address?
What I used to pay?
It's for 30 Groton
30
Road.
Groton.
They're new. This is the first year they're on the list, so. And I did go through the chicken list recently. Everyone is up to date except for 2 people. We haven't heard from yet.
Is that it?
Yep.
Can I see that for a minute? I'm only questioning because there's a property that I know has chickens and I wanted to see if they are on here. Yep, they are.
I
Perfect.
love my chickens across the street. I just love their little chicken noises. And I don't have to take care of them.
You don't have the rooster in
There's
the
no,
morning.
they don't
like-
have
Yeah, I was gonna say that might be a little bit annoying.
Roosters are their own thing.
No, they just have girls, just the girls.
Good.
All right then, if that is everything, anybody else, any other
No.
business we need to take up?
Nope, and our next meeting is
The 17th of October.
October
Yeah,
17th.
I should write that down. I wonder, we should talk about this when Steve is here, but if 5:30 is difficult for people.
I know,
I think
that
we
lady
could-
said,
I think we could look at other meeting times. Could you check and see if we keep it on Monday nights? Like, do we run into anything else if we were to make our meeting a little later?
I can check.
Then at least we'll have that information, so when Steve's here next time, we can
Yeah.
just talk about, is this a good time for you, or?
well, it is early for me because I get home at 4. So I've got
Yeah.
just an hour to pull myself together.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah.
that I live far away, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I
and
get
like
it.
what this lady said, it is, and that's probably a reason we don't have a lot of input.
Well, that's what I was
People
thinking.
commuting,
Yeah.
eating, they have kids.
What would you think to change it to?
What is it now, 5:30?
It's
that
5:30.
I only ask because I don't know quite the rules for town hall in terms of, because the doors remain unlocked until we.
Yeah.
I wonder if that.
So, like,
has
I
something
just
to do with
stay.
it.
Yeah, we'd like have to look.
Oh, you have to
right,
stay
and it's
later.
your hours too,
Ah.
right.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. I mean, across the street.
Well, that's right, you did say you live.
I live across the street.
Aw.
Oh my God.
Well, I hate to make it more difficult for anybody.
I know.
So, but I can ask to see
Well,
what's
it's-
sort of going on.
Let's just see what our options are.
Okay, because I know it hasn't really been an option in the past. I'm just wondering
Right.
about.
Yeah, and you have some really good points about the doors, and then I don't know what that does to your schedule from an HR standpoint. I don't want to mess
Yeah.
anything up there, so just look into
Just
it.
accrued enough. I took Friday off.
Yeah, just get some information for us.
Sure. All right.
We'll talk about it
Alrighty.
next time. Okay.
All right, I would make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that. And we are adjourned. It is 6:29 p.m.